Such a pleasure to be here today. Hello, hello. I am Khaira Bundugji, and I am so excited to be talking to you about empathy marketing. I get a lot of input about empathy marketing, where when I ask people, what do you think it is? They say, oh, it's just another tool for companies to sell to people who don't want whatever they have to offer. I want us to change that conversation today in just 30 minutes. So let's get started. So I am Khaira Bundugji. I am a personal branding coach, first and foremost. And what that means is I help people figure out who they are, why they do what they do, what they want to say, to whom, and how to do all of this in a way that feels natural and aligned, not that intense obligation of, hey, you need to chase followers and you need people to listen to what you're doing. And from that comes the point of me having a past in corporate marketing, and before that, getting my MBA, before that, doing computer science. So before we get started, let us get a feel of who is in this room right now. What I'll do is I will mention an age group, and what I want you to do is clap if you happen to be in that age group. All right, so let's do a quick test. Everybody clap everywhere. Okay, so that's exactly what you'll do. Awesome, awesome, great. So first, anybody 17 years old or younger in this room? Anybody 18 to 24? Anybody 25 to 34? It's me. 35 to 44. 45 to 54. Nice, nice. You're the most important person here. 55 years or older. Aw. Got you. Don't worry. This is so relevant to you, even more so. Next, again, let's get an idea of where our marketing knowledge is at. So who is not in business at all in any way? Still in school? All right, awesome. Who's working but not involved in the marketing at all? Awesome. And then who's in the marketing department or in a marketing or advertising agency? Amazing. And lastly, who is a freelancer, solopreneur, or entrepreneur? Ooh, I think people are in both places in some of those cases. That's amazing. Okay, cool. So if you're a historian, you are going to hate this slide, and you're going to hate me for talking about it. I'm going to give the quickest recap of the history of marketing. It is missing so many details, but that's what we can do in this time frame. So first of all, as early as influence existed, someone, possibly 6,000 years ago, influenced another person to trade maybe for food, right? So that's, in my opinion, the first version of marketing that ever happened. Hey, this fur is really nice. It's a beautiful color. It'll go with your eyes. This is what I'm guessing that they ended up doing that long ago. And then we catapult 250 years ago, flyers and brochures became a technology that people could use. So you could send your message about your company or your product faster and to more people than ever before. And then, for a really long stretch, companies became focused on the perfect product. We're going to make the perfect product. We're going to build it up. We're going to plan it for years, take years to build it, and then we can keep on creating that product for a really, really long time, and people will use it because at that time, technology didn't change so fast. And then, very recently, what you see as influencer marketing is also called authenticity marketing. Brands and companies were breaking people's hearts and lying and going against value systems that people held dear. So trust in brands, trust in companies wasn't as strong. But trust in people, especially people they knew, especially people that they trusted, was really strong. So companies said, okay, we'll jump in on this authenticity aspect and ask people to talk about our products as if or if they actually use it. And now today, we have a fully two-way conversation going on. We can get in touch with any company at any point. We can get in touch with each other. So especially if you're a solopreneur or an entrepreneur, this is so important. You can get in touch with your clients, your customers so quickly in a way that nobody has ever before. And you can speak to them directly with algorithms and with segmentation. It's a really cool time to be alive. Did I miss anything? Does anybody think, and we have a microphone on standby, does anybody think that I missed something really big in marketing since we have marketers in the room? Awesome, yes, score. I didn't miss anything. So I have 3 steps when it comes to the taxonomy of how you're going to be empathetic to your customers or your clients. Step 1, know your audience. And the entrepreneurs and marketers will already know this, but maybe everybody else will be surprised by this. How do you know such a large group of people, especially if you have big aspirations? You want to take your products, your services to the world. You want to impact the world. How are you going to do that when I'm going to ask you, who is your addressable market? Meaning, who are the group of people, or what's the number of people that you can serve right now? Like tomorrow, you can send them your product. That's a very small number if you think about the logistics of it. Who you serve, who you talk to, who listens to your message. And this is called niching down. So this is really getting focused on who you're talking to. Then we create a persona. And what a persona is, it's a representation of this beautiful group of addressable people. So let's say for me, I'm a personal branding coach, right? So as a coach, I can only take on like 12 clients a month. And let's say that I want to focus on female entrepreneurs. So what I would do is I would create a representation of this typical female entrepreneur. And let's say also I want to create a group and serve a typical PhD holder, experienced professional. And I'll talk more about that later. But the fact that I want to talk to 2 groups means that I have segmented my market, and I have 2 different people that I want to talk to. So this is the basic makeup of the persona, and you can check out more khayrabi.com/resources. I have templates for you. First, the basic demographic. So let's say Abdullah Ahmed, okay? Let's say he is 62, he's newly retired, but he doesn't want to stop working. He is Saudi, but of course he's bilingual because I only speak English, so he has to be bilingual. And because he's bilingual, he's interested in different cultures, and he's interested in translating concepts and ideas. And what else do I want to talk about? So we've created this person, and what's important for you to remember is this person is not real. I went with my gut instinct. When I first thought of someone that I could serve and someone who I can give them power and voice, this is who I came up with. And then, of course, I validated it, but that's for another time that I'll explain that further. Finally, my clients know that emoji sparkles are really important. So the fact that I put these sparkles next to these 2 words means they're really important. We're not going to go for the typical frustration. We're not going to go for the typical motivation. We're going to go for their frustration and their motivation. This is the core of empathy. It's not something that belongs just to them. It's something that is valid. It's a valid frustration and a valid motivation. Step 2, we take a walk in their shoes. And maybe you're wondering, okay, that's great for you. You're a personal branding coach. You talk to 1 client a day. But what if I'm selling, say, pens? why would I create a persona? And what kind of frustration would someone have when they're trying to use a pen? It's a pen. Like, that's all you do. I say to you that it's even more important for you to deeply empathize, because you have to differentiate yourself from other people who produce pens. So you'll be thinking about the motivations. And let's go with, what did I call him? Abdullah Ahmed? Yeah, thank you. So let's go with Abdullah Ahmed. When he uses a pen, he's not just using a pen on a random paper. He's signing a contract that means a lot to him. He's giving someone notes about how they can further get in touch with him. He's writing down an idea that's going to change someone's life, right? And that's the marketing flair about it. But this is where it makes a difference, because if you send him 25 emails in a week saying, hey, we got a pen for you, he's going to ignore it. But when you tell him that, hey, while you're signing that contract, don't you want to look fancy? Of course, I hope you use different copy and a different way of saying it, but that's what he's concerned with. He's not concerned about getting a pen. He can get a pen from anywhere. What he's concerned with is his prestige. Let's say his motivations are giving back to the community after retiring. And his frustrations could be maybe technology, for example. Maybe it's the speed of it, maybe it's the frivolousness of it, because in his time he collected information in a way that required diligence and focus. He didn't need to Google it. So the other question is, that I always get, but what if they frustrate me? Why should I think so much about their preferences when they are annoying customers or annoying clients or annoying prospects? And we don't talk about this enough, by the way. But especially entrepreneurs, and let's say you're thinking about your boss, you can market yourself and promote yourself to your boss, right? And maybe you get really frustrated. Well, my boss keeps giving me crazy deadlines. But do you correct him and let him know that there's only a certain amount of time in your day for this? For example, it's not a great example, but maybe we'll talk about it a little bit in the Q&A section. My point is that when it comes to e-commerce, for example, they put in returns in their operating norm. So people returning something when they buy it online is part of the package. That's why they're buying it, right? So you didn't see Amazon looking at everybody and saying, oh, okay, well, if they get frustrated with it, I guess they just got to live with it. No, they said, we're going to make it normal to return something, because that frustration is important. That frustration is valid. Now, here's a question for you. How do you motivate your audience to reach their goals? And let me switch it up. We've been talking about being a company, being an entrepreneur. Let's talk about being an employee. How do you motivate your boss? Or have you motivated your boss to reach their goals? Can we get an answer? Anybody who's courageous enough to give a guess about what I'm looking for from this question? Any takers? Any hands to be raised? I don't see anybody. No. Sorry? Okay, great. So you would want him to be effective. Is that right? So my question is, how would you motivate him to reach his goals as your boss? There's a microphone.
My goals will be his goals.
Okay.
So I can affect him.
Let's say, for example, can you give me an example of a goal that he had?
Maybe to become better company in sales.
Okay, great. So how would
at the last of the month, at the last of the month, we reach our goal in sales.
Okay, so you would motivate him by doing your part and helping him on his team.
Yes.
That's exactly it. And this is so different from This is so different from what most people think about. When they think of their boss, they're looking at someone and thinking, oh, they're just giving me deadlines, they're not listening to me, they're not giving me the training I need. But when we flip it, and we know that I motivate this person by doing my best and by reminding them of what the limitations are in this project, it completely changes the conversation. Step 3, and this is my favorite. I'm an amateur philosopher, and I love this concept, that in this day and age, everybody is creating a custom reality that only they know. What do I mean by this? I mean, due to algorithms and the way that everybody uses their phones, there is only their own experience that reflects their experience. Back in the day, back in the beginning of influence, people only had one reality that they shared. So everybody had the same information. They all felt the same weather, they all lived the same way, they all knew the same people. But today, using our phones and how much we use our phones, how much we use the internet, maybe not even someone who uses their phones. What TV we're exposed to, what newspapers, what flyers we're exposed to, all of this adds up where there's too many different realities that can come into play. So the third step of empathy is really take a walk into how does this person shape their reality from the media sources that they have around them. Are the media sources they have teachers, authority figures? Is it certain platforms that they use? And where do you fit there? So this is where the balance comes in. Now that you know exactly what the frustrations your dream audience has, you can make sure to send that message out there saying, hey, I can solve your frustration. This pen is perfect for prestige. And then you take a thought about how do they adapt to information and how do they understand the world and what reality are they creating. You show up on that platform. Easy peasy. The last question that I have for you, if anybody would like to answer, is where do you fit in their journey? If you have an issue right now, let's take a different example entirely. Let's say in our family, do you have a situation where you're trying to convince your parent or your child or your sibling of something? I feel like everybody would say yes. This is a really easy one, you guys. Does anybody want to offer up what ooh, we got a hand here. Can we get a microphone there? Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would say homeschooling is probably the toughest situation.
My heart goes out to you.
Thank you.
You are the bravest person that I know right now. It's crazy. So, influencing, I would love, love, love to stick around and have a conversation if you don't mind.
Sure, I can vent all day.
So where do you fit in your child's journey when you're trying to convince them that even though they're in the same room all day, that for some reason they have to do something different than they did 5 minutes ago, even if it's the same space? Where do you fit inside their life, or how can you put a message in or what do you do already? Because you're probably successful. You've had 7 months of this.
I'm not successful, disclaimer. I'm probably the mean or the evil parent who keeps forcing him to focus on this weird thing going on with his teachers. So as I'm answering your question, I'm realizing I haven't been practicing empathy with my own son.
That's beautiful. I would love, 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 and I really mean this. I'm not just saying this. Please tell me if it's changed anything. When you do take a look at his frustrations and you do see the reality that's being created around him, let me know if it changes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is thank you so much for your authenticity and honesty. This is such a great look at how we can get so involved into pushing our product, pushing our message to someone that we forget about what they're experiencing. Guys, this isn't new. Empathy marketing isn't new. I'm not saying something that you don't already know or that the world doesn't already know. Even though the term empathy marketing came up around 2012, there are things called agile software development, lean startup method, customer journey. This concept has been here for a really long time of empathizing with people and creating messages that will remind them of how important your product or your idea or what you do is to them. The only difference is that I have new packaging. So you can remember that this is coming from the heart. And because it's coming from the heart, it's really important to understand why are we doing it this way. It's so attractive, and I think you can remember an instance where you were looking at an influencer, and then they took out a product, and they were saying, oh my God, I use this every day. You guys, I use this product every day. And you know that they don't use it every day. You feel it, because you've been following this person for ages, and this is the first time you've ever heard of the product, and it just so happens to be a sponsored post. You know that they don't use it every day. So authenticity marketing is slowly unraveling, and influencers, even though there was kind of like a bubble that formed, it's starting to change the way it looks. The only way you can ensure engagement for your own personal life or for anything bigger is to stay focused on how they're feeling and what their journey is like, and to be authentic through that. We are socially hardwired for connection with other people. This is the reality. And even though a lot of times we, for profit, get into this habit of shifting the focus and making compromises that we shouldn't make, the power is back in our hands. We have the ability to serve whoever we want to serve and to connect with whoever we want to connect with. And with that, I believe it's time for questions, and I can't wait to hear from you. And I really hope that you take this concept of empathy and you start putting it in your business. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Hi. I think we only have time for 2 questions.
Thank you, Ms. Khaira. That was a really interesting talk. Thank you so much. Actually, we only have time for 1 question from our audience.
Sorry.
So if there's anyone have a question. Okay, عندنا الأخ اللي موجود هنا. Oh, yes.
I will keep it concise.
It's going to be fast. And I'm a marketer myself, but the question is, do you think this is ethical, what we do as an empathy marketers?
I believe firmly. So I'm talking as an environmentalist, someone who really cares about rights, someone who cares about equity. I believe that this can either be a tool or an approach. If it's a tool for profit, and it's a tool where you know that you're hurting the person and you're not actually taking them closer to their goal, like, for example, if we try to sell entrepreneurs a course that's way more expensive and we're giving them empty promises that they'll be able to make that money back, that's not cool. But if we're giving them a course and we have proof from cohorts that, let's say, 90% of the entrepreneurs that leave this course end up making more money within the first 3 months, then that's awesome. So that's how you approach it. We don't have time for 1 question.
Okay, let's have another question.
Just 1 more. I love you guys.
Do you have more questions?
Okay, I guess I was excited.
Okay, let me ask you one.
Okay.
Okay, what is the most frequent question that you always get?
Oh, okay. So I am so grateful that my general client is someone, when it comes to their personal brand, who loves learning. They love getting certificates. They're kind of on the edge of being a certificate hoarder, where they're just grabbing certificate, and not telling anybody about it, not putting it on their LinkedIn. And what I get from them is, okay, but if I promote myself or if I talk about my certificates, then I'm going to look like those people that don't have any knowledge. And they're giving people false hope that they do have knowledge, or they're pretending like they have more knowledge than they do. This is where I have a concept of marketing energy and servicing energy, and it's quite tied to the other question we got. So the idea is, can you promote yourself from a place of service? Meaning, when you know that someone has a frustration, let's take my persona of a female entrepreneur. Let's give her a typical name of Sarah. So Sarah has the frustration where she doesn't know how to deal with her time, and she has the goal of financial stability. Then what I would do is I would create free content to tell her how to be productive in her time, to give her actionable steps. And that will create that trust, and that's the actual marketing that really helps. And then by the time I ask her to take up a course or something, khalas, she's already had trust in me, and I've already served her. So she knows that I'm good for what value I'm asking for. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Khaira.
Thank you so much, you guys.